Beautiful weather has returned all the snow. Well, most of it is melted, little bits of it here and there. But I'm just gonna head around to some of our plots and see how some of our crops has survived the sort of shocking winter spell we had there for a while. It looks like the next 2 weeks are warming up, so it's kind of a pleasant surprise. But I'm gonna go and check under our low tunnels and see how those have handled the snow, because low tunnels, as I've said many times in videos before, don't handle snow very well. Caterpillar tunnels have done just fine. You can see little, the sort of the buildup happens between the bows there. So I'm gonna just bounce around to some of the plots and check on everything there. But I just wanted to make an announcement and an update about our New Zealand trip. We have decided to postpone it for next year. We just weren't getting enough ticket sales. Maybe I have saturated the market because I've come down there for the last 2 years. So we've decided to cancel the event for this year. We're gonna do it again next year at the exact same time. So anybody that bought tickets have been reimbursed. So really sorry guys that we can't make it happen, but ticket sales weren't coming in a lot. We take a big risk on doing this event or these events because it's not cheap to fly down to New Zealand and it's not cheap to do any of this stuff. So if the ticket sales aren't there by a certain time, we just have to cancel the event. That's just kind of how it goes. Not a big deal. There wasn't a lot of ticket sales anyways, but everybody's been reimbursed. So we'll look forward to do it again next year. So let's go and check up on some of these plots and tunnels. Here in the hothouse, things look great. All this lettuce, you can see the successions. It's all been cut once. It's all well on its way for a second cut. So we made a really good move by starting to harvest this stuff first and then leaving the caterpillar tunnels for later. So we're gonna go and check on those caterpillar tunnels now. So Salanova, 2 full beds here. Spinach beds well on their way. So this is great. These ones can sit here for a number of weeks until we harvest them. And that's kind of the cool thing about having stuff in the ground when it's mature, is it's more or less in stasis and it's alive and you just harvest it when you need it. So as long as we don't get any temperatures in the past couple weeks that's going to drop below what we've already seen, we don't have to worry about this lettuce. This can sit here as long as we want and we'll harvest it when we need it. Unlike in the summertime, when that needs to be cut, you more or less have a short window of period of time when you need to harvest it in. If you don't, then the crop can get a little bit too big. You know, Salanova lettuce is kind of good for that in general. It can get bigger and the heads just get bigger and the leaves stay the same size, just more leaves. But still, there gets to a point where it will get too big. But fortunately, in the winter, it's just not going to grow that much faster, so it's just going to sit there. The winter was getting so gnarly, I even had the snowblower set up on my BCS and I started snowblowing the sidewalks and the area around my property, but no need to pack it away yet. Might as well keep it there, but I thought winter was here to stay. So let's check underneath this tunnel in my front yard here. Nice crop of French breakfast radishes. Totally survived the well below freezing temperatures and 3 inches of snow underneath that low tunnel, so that's a good sign. Nice thing about, again, the cool season here is that as long as we don't get really, really cold temperatures in the next few weeks, as long as they stay to be what they were or above, I can sit on these for weeks. These can stay in the ground and I can just harvest what I need when I need them. Check this out. I think in a couple vlogs ago I showed you guys this bed of radishes that got covered by snow. It actually survived. These are good radishes. So I'll probably have Mark crop these out tomorrow just to get them out of the ground. We've got another bed of radishes that I just showed you under a tunnel. And I'm not sure if we have anything else in greenhouses, but we'll see. Not bad here. This lettuce on the furthest bed looks a little bit haggard. That might be because it got too long and the stress of the cold and warming up. made it fall over on itself and kind of rot down. You can see there's some of that stuff. But this bed here on the interior, besides from having lots of weed pressure around it, looks pretty good. The spinach that is the overwintered stuff that was done with the paper pot looks good. And then next door in this other tunnel, looks good here. This red Russian kale is ready to harvest. And then this one here, which was harvested probably a few weeks ago, should be back for a second cut. This was a bed of spinach we did at the paper pot, well established for, we might even harvest that in a month or so if the weather stays relatively warm. So this plot is all carrots. These 3 beds were cropped out before the snow came, and we've seeded cover crops, fall rye and peas in there. So let's check up on these tunnels and see how they're doing. So what we've done here in these tunnels is we've cut the greens off the carrots just using a knife. And the reason we do that is that once it gets really cold, the greens will just freeze and die back. And so this way, it makes it so that when we harvest these throughout the winter, it's easier to harvest. Because when the greens freeze and die back and they just create like a mulch on the bed, it just makes it difficult to see the rows, and it makes them hard to harvest. This way, we can see the rows and see what's there, and it's easier to harvest. So we've done that in both of these tunnels. We've got some spinach in here that was direct seeded. Okay germination, lots of weed pressure here, unfortunately. But we're stocked with carrots for the winter, so that's a really good thing. Okay, here at our flagship plot, and so far things look okay. Had a bit of low tunnel collapse on the front there, but that's nothing that I can't fix really easily. First, I just want to check up on my greenhouses here, and everything is the same as it was the last time I reported on them. They're doing just fine. I'm pleasantly surprised on how these tunnels managed to survive 3 inches of snow. Most of the snow is melted by now, and there was some partial collapsing on the tunnels. I got some serious wind coming along here, but these crops all look good. You know, some of the Salanova, that's done, like that's not gonna recover to get a second cut, but I've got a lot of spinach in the ground here. I've got some arugula and some red Russian kale that will be good for another cut probably in the following weeks. Now keep in mind, harvesting under poly low tunnels is a hassle because you have to flip the tunnel open and then dance your way around the hoops. But again, I've said this many times before, they're a very inexpensive and fast way to get into season extension. Apparently we've got some strong winds coming in tonight, 100-kilometer winds, that's 60 miles. So we'll see how these hold up. I'll keep you guys posted. But I'm gonna batten down the hatch right now and get out of here. So just a reminder again about the New Zealand stuff. We're gonna postpone it for next year. We'll take another crack at it then. My apologies for those of you who purchased tickets, though you are reimbursed. So, but again, I am sorry about that. It's kind of a drag, but that's the risk we take with these events. You know, I do all my own booking, and so I'm the one that puts the skin in the game. And so if I'm going to lose money on an event, I'm not going to do it, especially when I have to travel halfway across the world. So that's just the reality of it. That's how it goes. We'll try again next time. Talk to you guys later.